Thursday, August the 29th. Terry wants to know, Larry, what will an American socialist flag look like?
I don't know. I don't have a clue, but they probably will change it the way they've changed in just about all of our history. So I think the chances of the American flag lasting will be impossible. I wanted to talk to you today. I'm sorry I don't feel good. Not a good day for me.
We're starting with 16, just so you know.
The report, most of you know, it's come out. And as I tried to warn weeks and weeks ago.
You're talking about the IG report?
Yes, I did not trust Horowitz. And true to form, he did what they're going to do, which is protect themselves. Anybody that's been there, if you wonder, what did I know about Horowitz? Well, to be honest, I didn't know anything specific about him other than the fact that anybody that has been there 30 years cannot be trusted. But there's another thing that I know, and probably nobody's going to tell you other than me, but I'm bound to tell you the truth. The problem with Horowitz was, as it's going to be for so many people, when you're going up against the director of the FBI, especially one that had been there as long as Comey and been in the upper echelon as long as he had, even before being director of the FBI. Most of you remember J. Edgar Hoover, and being the director of the FBI allows you to amass massive files on everyone. So the reason Comey has been so arrogant, I felt, was because he knew that if Horowitz were to come at him aggressively, then he would expose Horowitz for all the stuff that he's got on him. Horowitz had to back off. Horowitz went probably further, I would think, maybe, than Comey would have preferred, but he still let him skate. And I think this is something we're going to see throughout the system. I've already warned you. William Barr, we will know very soon, I think reasonably soon, whether he's in the tank. And it will key off of Andrew McCabe. Now, what Horowitz's report shows is that it tells a story, let's just call it what it is. It tells a story of Comey violating the rules, but not breaking the law. That's what it tells. Now, guys, I'm no brilliant lawyer.
Oh dear, did we lose you again? We've got one of those bad days. He's having a hard time with his phone charger. I'm sorry, he went on video for a very brief time before we went live, and it was draining his battery from his phone real quickly. So,
talking about this today. So, yeah, obviously people don't be talking about this today, but I'm going to. My background with the Clintons was one where we worked constantly at walking right up to the line, folks. Just going right up to the line where if you just take one more inch, you have violated the law. But as long as you straddle the line and don't go over it, prosecutorially, you're kind of safe. That's what Comey did. He worked right up to the edge of the law, He knew where he knows what he's doing. He goes up to the edge of law, but he was very careful in most things not to cross over. But he did cross over the law, which is what Horowitz covered up for him. Horowitz covered up the fact that he mishandled classified FBI material. He took it to his home. Now, if you don't believe me, and I don't blame you, Rosie, get down. Rosie, excuse me, baby Rosie was crying. If you don't believe me, remember what Comey himself said when he was talking about Hillary. He said when Hillary set up the server in her home, therefore moving classified information from a secured area, that she broke the law. Comey said that. Go back to his press conference, his first one, you'll see him say it. But then he comes back and says, but no reasonable prosecutor would charge her. But she broke the law. That's the key to knowing that Comey had something on Horowitz. Because Horowitz, by law, certainly with his knowledge of law, should have at least gone so far as to state his transporting classified documents to an insecure location, his home. Guess what? That violates the law. That's a federal offense under Title 18.
And we have
Section 7. Huh?
And we have proof that Comey took classified stuff home?
Absolutely. It's in the report.
Oh.
It's in the report. He took 4 documents to his home, put them in his personal safe, which is not a Ziploc. It's not a zip. And a zip is where you store classified records. Anyway, he took them. Of the 4 documents he took home, 2 were classified. 2 were not classified, but because it's FBI inner office memoranda or anything having to do with the office, it is treated the same way. Although it's not classified, it is illegal for them to take any member of the FBI to take stuff like that out into an unsecured place. But he did. So Horowitz did not charge him with that. The rest of it, folks, where he's talking about he violated FBI rules, that's right. And breaking the FBI rules, that's, of course, not prosecutable. Not necessarily. But Comey broke the law. And Horowitz covered for him. And the reason, write it down, put this as your next Nicholism. The reason Horowitz laid down on that report from recommending indictment, recommending prosecution, was because as FBI director, Comey had too much stuff on Horowitz. I do not know what he had on Horowitz. I intend to find out. You know, one of the problems that President Trump and his people had is they're bound to play by the rules. Well, let me assure you, folks, I'm not bound by any such rules. I'll cheat, I'll lie, I'll do whatever I've got to do to find out whatever I need to find out. And I will. Now, already we know Barr has declined a recommendation for prosecution. We know that. And I've explained that to you. The charges that Comey would face for leaking, which, by the way, Horowitz declined to even call that a crime, for leaking would not be sufficient enough penalty-wise to blow the case that does exist in a couple of other areas, one being, for example, the Pfizer reports. Now, remember this, with the Pfizer report, there's no way to wiggle worm your way out of it. When you sign the Pfizer report, when he signed it, stating that the dossier that they had verified, that it was a verified piece of evidence, and he knew it was not. That is falsifying a federal record, and especially falsifying a record from a officer of the court to a court, federal court. That's 20 years, guys. 20 years. Minimum 5.
So we have a question here. Is Barr waiting then to get him in the FISA warrant charges?
Yes. Well, Barr and Durham, I must tell y'all, are working on a broader case than just James Comey. I know for a positive 100%, 2,000,000% fact, not my opinion, this is fact. Barr and Durham are working the entire coup, where it started, how it started, who started it, and all the people involved all along the way. That's the case they're working on. What precipitated these people in the highest positions of our government to conduct a soft coup against a candidate for the president of the United States, against an elected candidate, elected president of the United States, and then a sitting president? This is actionable. This is huge. But Barr must and is getting to every person involved. You know, it's funny, y'all. I have told y'all of some documents that I know about where Clapper and Brennan, when they were fixing to start a counterintelligence investigation into the staff and into the campaign of Donald Trump, they refused to do it, because for them to conduct such a counterintelligence operation, they wanted one thing before they would dare do it. They wanted Obama to authorize it. They were not going to be set up by Loretta Lynch and let her authorize it. They were not going to do it. She did not have the power to give them such an order, and if they acted on it without the president, then they were exposed. Obama, trying to outsmart them, had Joe Biden
Oh, goodness. We lost Larry again. Larry, you're gone. Shoot. There, he figured it out. Paul, Larry thinks that he has been able to stop the impeachment, but they're still fighting about it, so we'll see. Sorry.
I don't know what's going on.
You're on.
But anyway, Clapper and Brennan refused to go forward with the counterintelligence investigation on the signature of Vice President Joe Biden. The reason they did is because for such an investigation to be authorized against a United States American citizen and his people in his campaign, there's only one authorization that supposedly, according to Brennan and Clapper, gave them cover to do it without fear of prosecution. And that would come from only one person, which was Barack Hussein, dumbass Obama. And he did it. And those documents are in the hands. They are in, I repeat, they are in the hands of Barr and Durham. So they are in a position to link for the first time President Obama to starting this whole thing against Trump. They're there. Now, For Brandon and Clapper, I will tell you that they think they've got a free pass. They do not. They do not. Because in law enforcement, as in the military, you're not allowed to do an unlawful order. That order was unlawful, even with the president's signature. You must not follow an illegal or unlawful order.
Isn't that
Brendan and Clapper are toast, huh?
Isn't that part of what happened with Watergate, with Nixon knowing about stuff, and these people all went to jail anyway?
No, not really.
It's a little different. Okay, my dumb question. So if somebody's asking some, whoops, we lost him again. He'll be back. James, I think Larry has said that there are.
We're getting knocked off bad. This program's going to be hard to do today, so we're going to probably cut it short. Does anybody have any questions right quick? I mean, this is crazy. Plus, I've got a ton of stuff that I have to do related to all of this. But I wanted you to know why Horowitz did what he did. It's because Comey had stuff on him that he could release and destroy Horowitz. Now, do not believe that Barr's failure to issue an indictment relative to this, don't think bad about it yet. The thing that you want to look for is Andrew McCabe. If Barr refuses to indict Andrew McCabe for lying to the FBI and lying to Congress, then you'll know the fix is in and Barr's dirty. So, what's your question?
We're praying that that's not. All right. Some of these are kind of stated as comments, and I think you've answered some of them.
Okay.
Perhaps they're waiting to get Comey in FISA warrant charges.
Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. Well, those are the major charges that carry the most serious penalty, plus the leaking and lying would go before, as I've told you, the 12th district out of New York, and likely as not, he would lose, or Barr would lose, and if he lost, then they would not be able to use lying in any of the other charges for double jeopardy.
Yeah. Okay. I think there are other pending investigations into Comey's conduct, like outside influences and conspiracy to engage in seditious acts.
Yes, that is true. It's a part of the major, what's called the prerequisite case. The case is known as a prerequisite, as Barr calls it. He calls it a prerequisite. What was the precursor that caused all of this? What triggered all of this?
Okay, do you think Trump will beat the left to the punch and win the impeachment battle?
Yes. He can win the impeachment battle because they never intend to impeach him. They have nothing to impeach him over. The impeachment is simply a tool they intend to use during the campaign to just constantly keep bringing stuff up to hurt the president during his campaign. They know they've got, look, they know they have nothing. They have no high crimes and misdemeanors against the president, and they know it. They know it. They have not one document, not one instrument, not one investigation after 2 years to substantiate such. They know it. But that will not stop them from doing it during or trying it during the campaign, which, by the way, I'm working on trying to stop them from being able to use that tactic. I can't tell you how, just know that I am. I come from the old school, folks, if you want to know. I believe in fighting fire with fire. And I assure you, I will bring fire to the people involved in Washington. Because that list that Comey's got that he blackmails everybody with, don't be surprised if your buddy here don't have a bunch of that same list, and I'll use it.
Well, Larry, you admitted such in 28 Years to Nowhere.
Yes, it did. I'm not lying. I'm not hiding. I got no reason to hide it. And by the way, if you don't believe I've got it, don't you know they'd be all over me, all over my house. They'd put me under every kind of lock and key until I turned it over. If they didn't know I had it.
So let's see. Why?
Let me say that this way. If I didn't have what I'm telling you, and I've claimed this for years, guys, I've used it for years. If I didn't have what I claim I do, they would come and just prove I didn't and disavow me so fast you'd never want to believe me if I told you the sky was in the air. Go ahead.
Why were no legal charges against the wiretapping of Trump Plaza? Now, isn't that again the whole issue of there's no court to go into?
Well, just because you haven't heard about that yet does not mean that's not a part of the prerequisite case.
Okay, Karen says, this is a Karen that we don't know. We need some people to be held accountable before the 2020 elections.
Yes, I know. But I'm telling you, that's easier said than done. And I'm speaking on behalf of the president and of William Barr. It's easier said than done. You know, you can't just hold people accountable unless we can prosecute them. You see, the thing that Horowitz robbed us of today, he robbed us of what our founders set up for us to protect us. You see, looking at all the things Comey did, those things, especially the classified documents, unsecured, those things should be brought before a trial and let a court of his peers determine whether that's breaking the law or not. Not Horowitz making that decision. That's the same thing Comey did with Hillary. Here was a damn FBI director making a decision that only the Attorney General Lynch could have made. But he made it. He just went ahead and made it. No prosecution. Go ahead.
Juan asks, so what's next? Any indictments coming this month?
No. Not this month. Well, let me take that back. This month's August. There may be calls for grand juries to be called into session in August. I mean, in September. We're in August, in September. There are two issues being studied for grand jury indictments.
But if there's a grand jury, now grand jury indictments, does that come after the grand jury or before?
Yes. No, after.
Okay.
You call a grand jury. The grand jury hears the case, and once they hear the case, they make the decision. So it is not a decision singularly of the prosecutor, or in this case, the Attorney General. The grand jury determines collectively whether or not to indict someone, which is supposed to carry more weight for the public than if the prosecutor decides on his own to do it. And oftentimes when there are cases that are kind of hairy or high public cases, prosecutors will go to a grand jury to take some of the pressure off of them.
But we don't know that a grand jury is or is not being assembled right now, do we? Is there any way
You do not.
Right.
You do not.
It's supposed to be kept secret. I thought you'd said many times.
That's right.
Okay. Will Obama be held accountable and go to jail?
No. He'll be held accountable, but he will not go to jail.
It's not safe because of his security.
Right, because of his security.
If Barr is dirty, will Trump fire him?
I'm not going to speak for the president on that issue.
Okay.
If he is, I'm going to tell you the way it stands right now, folks. If Barr is dirty, I hate to say this, but if William Barr is not what we hope him to be, we may just have lost. We may have lost, because it will be very difficult in that event to go and fire him, get another attorney general, get him confirmed, and do all of this in time to have any results before the 2020 election. Confirmation will be drug out, the whole 9 yards. So we will be basically sunk for 2020, and all will be lost. Not trying to be a pessimist, but I'm just here to tell you the straight of it.
So, folks, I guess you know what your responsibility is. We've got to.
Now, I would make a recommendation to everybody that hears me. I wish you would do this very respectfully. I wish all of you would write a letter to William Barr, and in a respectful manner, ask him to please make sure that he brings equal justice to all under the law. There should be no group, no elitist group, no matter how powerful they are, that should have standards of law that you and I do not have. And at present, that is the case. And the only thing that's going to break that case from existing is if William Barr commits to we, the American people, that he will do honest efforts and prosecute those regardless of their position or title to the fullest extent of the law. There can be no duplicity in law, not in this country, or we're not a country anymore. You see, when you break down the judicial system, when you can't trust the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, the FBI, when you can't trust the judicial branch, folks, all's lost. We don't have a constitutional country anymore. The Constitution doesn't apply to anything at that point. That's what Comey did. Comey set himself up based off what he wanted to do, what he thought would be the right thing to do. He just obfuscated the law. You know, he just made up his own rules. You can't do that. The least FBI agent can't do that. If any FBI agent that worked for James Comey did what he did with the looseness of the way he handled classified materials, he would have had to have fired him on the spot. He would have.
Okay, the indication that Barr is dirty, Chris, he said it depends. We're watching to see what happens with McCabe.
That's right. Now, if he does not go forward, now it could be that with McCabe, he might go to a grand jury. That would be acceptable. Acceptable in the sense that it would buy us time. You see, I'm not jumping up and down for William Barr to prosecute Andrew McCabe and throw him into the crooked judicial system that he's going to have to go into. I'm not in a hurry for that. But we've got to bring charges against him. So a way to buy time to let us know that Barr is serious and that he plans to follow the law and bring all people under the law, the same law we all have, would be to call a grand jury and then take their recommendation. Then if he's got a recommendation from a grand jury to prosecute, then we'll know he's straight. We'll know he's at least following the law. And then if he needs to drag the actual prosecution out for a little bit until we can try to get a court cleaned up, fine. But we can't just sit now and do nothing. It's got to happen. Or if it's not going to happen, if it doesn't happen, if he announces no prosecution to McCabe, you're hearing it from me. It's over.
Okay, Linda said she received 28 Years to Nowhere, signed by both of us last night. She started reading it. It was hard to put down. Every American that cares about the country should read it. She loves it. Folks, I will say that that is the comment we have gotten from nearly everybody who has bought this book, and we have had to go into a second printing. So if you don't have it, get it as soon as you can.
Well, I got a gift yesterday. There was a wonderful lady named Joyce from Georgia. She had actually heard me on Jason Goodwin's program talking about the Contras, Nicaragua, etc. And this wonderful lady was there then. So it was good to finally find somebody still alive that knew what we were into in those days. Now, it probably doesn't mean much to y'all, but I've been called a liar about everything, so it was good to find somebody that knew, that was really there, that was in a position there. Just thought you ought to hear that.
That's good.
What else?
Do you think Boris Johnson and Trump will have a better relationship in Trump's second term?
Do I think of what? Who?
Boris Johnson from the UK and Trump?
No.
Won't be any better?
No, because one of the reasons that the UK participated in trying to defeat President Trump during the campaign, and yes, UK was a part of Italy and all the others trying to stab him in the back, was because they knew of his stance on trade relations. And they don't like America standing up for America. They don't like a president that will stand up for us and for our companies. They don't like a person to be president in America that, by the way, refuses to just continually let us support the entire operation of NATO with all the other countries in Europe not doing anything or not doing their part. Yeah, they don't like him, but they shouldn't like him. Thank God they don't like him.
What do you think of Joe DeGeneva? He has a lot. Does he have a lot of confidence in Barr?
I don't know. You would have to ask him. DeGeneva sometimes is hard for me to read, and I know him. And he takes great pride in his knowledge of the law, and he's pretty opinionated. And sometimes I agree with his opinion of the law, and sometimes I don't. But you'd have to ask him.
Do we need to march on DC?
No. March on DC with what? 100 people? 1,000 people? 10,000 people? 1 million people? No, that would do no good.
And
The only thing any of you can do is do what I have continually begged you to do, and damn it, you better do it. You've got to reach people around you that are part of the soft base, and you've got to engage them in the fact that they must vote, or all will be lost. You and I have no power to go to Washington, D.C. and make one of these stupid politicians, these crooked politicians that have sold us out time and time again. Why? Why would any of us go to Washington, D.C. and spit on a member of our Congress? Why would we think that we would do the same thing with them that we've always done and they're going to do something different? Are you kidding me? They are the elitist cabal. They are the cabal. They're a part of it. just as much as Obama and just as much as George Soros and all of them. They are active participants in the cabal trying to destroy your country. Wake up. It's over. No sense kidding yourself. No sense believing another word out of their mouths.
Okay, another question that we've dealt with day after day. What about military courts being used, as Graham asked Kavanaugh?
I doubt it, but there's a possibility. I told you about that. If there is a way due to law enforcement and military connection, it's possible. I'm not saying probable, I'm saying possible. But that will not be our chosen path in the long run.
It says, hearing that all that McCabe has to say, saying he did not knowingly lie. So where does that leave us?
That leaves him with an out about saying he lied, because he said knowingly, which means, he didn't know if he did. He might have made a mistake. But I assure you, there are things around McCabe that will prosecute him, and it's not just his words. Let me tell you something a little straighter than that might help you. When Andrew McCabe lied on six points before Congress in the committees that he went before, 6 times in both the House and the Senate, he did not, when he made a false statement, say knowingly, or I don't remember. He lied. Point blank, lied. So McCabe has got to be prosecuted. And if McCabe is not prosecuted, then Trump should immediately issue pardons to Lynn, to everybody that's been caught up in this here. Just issue blanket pardons for all of them. Because once again, you can't do that. You can't get one guy for lying to Congress and then let another guy off that lied to Congress. That's duplicity under law. You can't do that. It's illegal. That's illegal. What else?
We need to ask McCabe about the $600,000 his wife got from Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
James says military tribunals can only be used if we can prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that they were conspiring with and giving aid and comfort to our enemies, foreign and domestic.
That's right. Absolutely true.
Is JFK Jr. alive?
God, I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt JFK Jr. is alive. Simply my opinion. I'm not trying to start some wild, crazy conspiracy. But he posed the only serious threat to Hillary becoming United States Senator from New York. And so I believe he got caught up in another Arkansas. My opinion. Can't prove it. Don't go run around saying I said that she killed him, because I didn't. I'm just saying it meets the standards of an Arkansas. His death benefited Hillary.
Okay, here's a good question to problem solving, Larry. Pamela says, I try to get people to see, but they look at me and say, how do I know this media is telling the truth? They're not willing even to look at my post on Facebook.
Then you walk away. Walk away. We do not have time to try to convince people like that of anything. That's not who we're looking for. There are millions and millions, 50% of the people minimally in this country. Actually, if you believe the polling, 80% of the people in this country do not believe the media at all. the mainstream. So what we're looking for are people that are prone to like Trump, supporting, and understand that President Trump, if for no other reason, is being treated very unfairly and unjustly by the mainstream media. That's who you want. Anybody that argues that point and tries to argue you down, walk away. Walk away, save your time, save your mental energy, protect yourself.
Yeah,
People will beat you down.
I was talking, Paul says, thank you, get some rest and relaxation. No, not until we've gotten past the next election. No rest for the weary on that one. I was talking to somebody on Facebook back and forth several times this morning. They were frustrated. Something needs to happen. We need to see some indictments. There has to be some action. I'm getting impatient. So I engaged her about it. She stated her comment in a polite way, and so I thought it was safe, and I was hoping, fingers crossed, that she wouldn't attack. And I responded and told her about the rigged courts and so on, and she had a fabulous answer back. So this is, Pamela, something that you're going to look for. What Larry's saying is find somebody who is supporting Trump. So her answer back was, I'm supporting Trump. I understand what you're saying. It's just frustrating, and it's hard not to be impatient. And of course I agreed with her. But yes, that was at least a positive interaction with somebody today, that I wasn't attacked for it, to know that I had to walk away. We could keep engaging. It's there for other people to read should they scroll down and look through stuff. I engaged one person to try and take a little bit of their angst out of the way with their impatience.
Yeah, let me tell you, I saw on Fox today, there was a report from one of their hosts that was in, I think it's Minnesota, at the state fair. And the Democrats have all got their candidates there trying to make speeches and win a poll or whatever in that fair. But that wasn't what was important. What was significant is he said that he met a lot of people that supported Trump, but they didn't want to say it out loud. See, that's the power this media has over us. There are people that support Trump, but if you dare say you support Trump, you're attacked. And so people are not talking. They're keeping their mouths shut. They're staying low. And that's okay. That is okay. I don't like it, but that's okay. As long as they vote. Look, I don't care if you tell your family who you believe in or what you're going to do. It doesn't matter. As long as these people get out and vote. If you believe in Trump, if you are afraid of socialism, if you don't like Trump, but you know you do not want America to become a socialist nation, and you don't want to believe me, and you don't want to believe anybody else, believe the damn candidates for the Democratic primary. They've all stated they believe in democratic socialism. That is socialism. There is no democratic socialism. Well, there is democratic socialism, but by that, they do have elections, but the only people that always win, like used to say about Castro, they had elections in Cuba. Vote for Castro or die. That was their campaign slogans, essentially. So, yeah, they got elections. So technically, you could say that's a democracy, I guess. You're going to have elections. But in a socialist country, those elections don't mean squat. Actually, they don't mean a lot more than that in this country right now.
Is the endless impeachment fiasco hurting the Democrats?
What?
Is the endless impeachment fiasco hurting the Democrats?
No, because what I've told you, and guys, please help me understand this. Please understand it and believe me. If all you hear and watch is CNN and MSNBC, ABC, CBS, and NBC, if that's all you watch for your news, they don't know that the impeachment stuff fell through. They believe the Mueller report convicted Trump. Do you hear me? They believe the Mueller report convicted Trump. And remember when we heard not long ago that the New York Times was starting to drop some of this Russian stuff, and they wanted to start promoting racism. Anything to do with Trump that has anything to do with Trump or his people is racism. That's what they're doing. Well, look what they did yesterday. Yesterday, they're going back. People are going back to the Times and making the Times come back and talk about the Tea Parties and call them racist. Anybody that supports Trump, you're going to be labeled and branded a racist or a white supremacist. They're going to do that to you. So wear it as a badge of honor. Tell the people that are hunkered down and afraid to open their mouths, just tell them.
We've got to wear it as proudly as we did the deplorable
That's right.
term. What will happen to those of us non-Democrats if the Democrats take control? What are their plans for freedom-loving Americans?
We will all suffer the same fate, so there will be some justice in this world. The Democrats, the millennials, the media, you know what? They'll be wiped out just like we will. I don't mean wiped out like going in and shoot millions of people, not that. But you'll be put in submission. We'll be put into submission. First, through economic submission, they will restrict your money. They'll get rid of your money. They'll nationalize the banks. And then the next thing that happened, the state-controlled, total state-controlled media, which will include Fox, which will include anybody, the internet, anybody. I was talking to a lady named Sabrina. She was 3 years ago, she was in Venezuela. What she said, you know, I asked her, I said, if you've been here 3 years, when they were converting to socialism in Venezuela, did they tell you you're going to be eating dog and cats? She said, absolutely not. But then she said something else. She said, even today, the media maintains everything in Venezuela is just hunky-dory and great. They're telling everything, and people believe it, even though they're out running in the streets eating dogs and cats and rats. But the media tells you you're fine. And then if you dispute the media, that's when it starts getting rough. If you dispute the government's claim about how great things are for you, even though you're in economic submission, even though you can't own a weapon, even though you can't walk the street unless somebody approves it, guess what? That's when they arrest you. That's when you'll see these detention centers that everybody's the FEMA detention centers. Well, let me assure you, 6 months to 1 year after we lose in 2020, if we do, there will be massive incarceration.
There'll be what? Massive incarceration?
Yes. And when you get in one of those, you ain't never coming out. You'll be made into a labor workforce. Not so differently than North Korea and what they do to their people. Guys, I'm not painting you a pretty picture of the future if we lose because you don't believe me. You haven't seen it in real life. I have. You have not seen suffering. You have not. I swear to God, you have not. Unless you've been where I've been, unless you've seen what I've seen, I assure you, you have not seen suffering as a result of communism, socialism, or a dictator. You hadn't seen it. You hadn't lived it.
Yeah, there's a big difference between reading about it, even seeing the video, versus actually being there and happen right in front of your face. Okay, next question. James asks, is Trump aware of the who you're going to call strategy? Why doesn't he say
yes,
that?
He is.
Pardon
yes,
me?
he is.
He is aware?
Yes, he is.
So why don't we hear him talk about it?
He is not going to hurt. He's not going to hurt the people that believe in him. Number one, he's not going to accept that who you're going to call is forever. He's going to change it. He's going to fix that we will have someone to call. He's going to do that. He can't do it this term, but he will do it promptly in his second term. So that will not be forever if he wins. But he is not going to just make everybody on our side, everybody that follows him, he's not going to break their hearts and tell them there's no hope. Because there is hope. It's, you know, it's just a reality. When people want to force something to happen, you got to deal with that reality, and that's my job. That's our job, to explain. Not his, ours. He knows it well. Trust me, he knows it well. And he has felt the sting of it more than any of us, I assure you. Anybody else?
In 1914, in 2014 and 2016, Chris worked with the Faith and Freedom Coalition, knocked on over 5,000 doors, talking the truth for America. You have to put legs to your faith. Thank you, Chris, for doing that, and we need more of us doing the same.
Yes. And look, you don't have to talk to 5,000 homes, but can't you at least go around to your neighbors and have kind of a barbecue this weekend, or cook burgers and invite them over, and then don't make it just a hard sell about this. Just get it to come up and just start the conversation. The conversation, once started, it'll get there for you. But at least have these little get-togethers in your neighborhood. You be concerned about your neighborhood and your friends and the people you associate with. That's your responsibility. Now, damn it, do it. Do it.
Do you think Hillary was using her own server to sell secrets to China, and is that why their fighter looks like our F-35?
That was Bill. Bill let the contract to China and gave them all of our computer technology in China. To this day, Bill's the onboard computer to our jets that fly by wire, all of them. That was Bill, not Hillary.
Why is
now, they probably profited through the foundation, but that was Bill.
Why is nothing happening to Brenda Snipes of the Broward County election ballot tampering?
Who are you going to call? Go after her. Who are you going to take her in front of? It's not rigged. Broward County, are you kidding me?
Somebody.
Number one, let me just say this. In cases like that, one of the problems you've got, the election board that kind of stuff would have to go before is made up of the crooks that are in the politics.
Yeah.
What? What now?
James says, a different James. I saw the other day that Jeffrey Epstein is tied somehow to the Iran Contra deal.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he was or he wasn't, but I doubt it. I don't know how old he would have been then, but I would imagine he would have been building his fortunes then and probably wasn't as powerful in that day as he is or was towards the end. But I don't know. Don't get me pinned down on that, because I don't know.
Barr stated he was going to release documents in August to the public. Is it still coming?
Yes, they are.
Good. Why?
There are three very important documents that are going to be released that I know of. I am hoping and putting my 2 cents worth in for the signatures of Obama and Biden to authorize it. That's what I'm pitching to get released. I don't know if they will.
Wow. Why, please, Nick says, why, please, why is it ill-advised to resort to a bloody revolt?
Because who are you going to kill? Who are you going to shoot? We've seen that once before in this country. The Civil War, brothers shooting brothers, fathers shooting sons, families killing families. We don't want that here. It doesn't need to be that here. We still have the 3 bullets that our founding fathers gave us: our voices collectively, and our vote. They do say when the government becomes tyrannical, it is incumbent on us to overthrow it. Yes, they do, but we're not there yet. We're moving that way. Yes, we are. And I assure you, if they take over and they turn us into this socialist country, our grandchildren will be fighting in the streets and it will be blood.
So we've got to make sure that doesn't come to that. Okay.
Mhm.
Gloria says, I have followed you for years. I think a bigger picture is coming and they have to go after the small fish first. When do you think Trump will go after the media to stop the propaganda?
I don't know that he can. I don't. There is a chance that I have asked to be looked into. Since the media is actually having an effect on our nation's national security with other countries, would that be, and I'm saying would it be, a possible avenue to clamp down on some of the lying, just blatant lying that they're doing? Remember, the media has plenty of protection. Number one, since Trump's a public figure, in most cases his family's a public figure. So guess what? You know, they can't sue. But it's coming, hopefully. I mean, I'm hoping it comes. Well, guys, I've got to go. They're getting in touch with me. I've got work to do. It must be done.
Yes, sir. All right. And I can't answer some of your question on how Larry first met Hillary. That we'll have to save that.
Yeah, let's save that for a later date.
And the
You don't want to hear this. Now, let me tell you, you don't want to hear that story. It's not pretty. But I'll tell it later.
Okay.
All right, guys. I've got to go. I will see you tomorrow. Good Lord willing.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it, Marilyn.
Okie doke. It says O'Blamer wants Harris. Oh, Kamala Harris. Got it, for president. Yeah. And I don't remember his talking a whole lot. Oh, wait a minute. I do know how he met Hillary. The first time Hillary came out in public, Larry was helping Bill Clinton to, the Stevens brothers asked Larry to interview or have dinner with Bill Clinton because they were considering Bill to run for governor. He would be the youngest governor of Arkansas. And Larry met with Bill. Bill was chasing the waitresses the whole time, pinching them and so on. So at least I think that's kind of how he described it. He was skirt chasing anyway. He couldn't concentrate on any conversation Larry was trying to have of a serious nature. All he was doing was Googling the girls. So he went back to the Stevens brothers and said, this is ridiculous. He can't be governor. And they said, never mind about the women. We can deal with that. Can you get him in office? We want him in office. And Larry said, yeah, I can help him win. So at one of the, I think it was a fundraising get together, Hillary came in wearing a muumuu, big fat muumuu, and hairy legs, not shaven under her arms, just looking the total scuzzy hippie. And Larry was pretty grossed out about it. And around her neck was a set of dog tags that said proud member of the Communist Party. So that is how he got introduced to Hillary. Yeah, that's actually in the book, 28 Years to Nowhere, folks. It is in there among many other interesting stories about his relationship with Hillary. Okay, I can't address anything about Pence and Michelle or Obama or anything else that we're dealing with here. All right, Gloria, no wonder Slick Willie looked elsewhere. That is kind of the running joke that's been floating around for 30 plus years. So I'm going to say, you heard Larry say he was getting a call. He is busy working in spite of how difficult it is for him to get enough air. And somebody asked, how are his lungs doing? His left lung he lost a third of it in that drive-by shooting where he got peppered with, all the pellets that I saw from the shotgun, all the scars that he showed me. They had to remove the bottom third of his left lung, and it was functioning at 20%. It's now at 60%. And his right lung is at 80%. And the last I heard, there were no tumors left. So and the treatment that he did in June and July has made a tremendous difference, as I just told you. And so he's doing a whole lot better. There are some other issues going on that have cropped up that are creating some issues. So anything you can do to help would be greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Now, whether you give directly or whether you ask for donations from other people, invite people to come here so that they can hear about the need. The website has all information on donating. It has information on how to order the books, the t-shirts, the bumper stickers. The website is nicholslive@aol.com, just his last name, nicholslive.com is the website. His PayPal address or account, his PayPal account is nicholslive@aol.com. So both of them are Nichols Live. One is .com and one is at AOL.com. I don't know if he reads emails or can get them. Everything he does on his little cell phone, and the print is too small sometimes even to read text messages. So he doesn't always even respond to a text, and I try not to text much, and I don't I try not to send him anything unless it's unanswered back to him. Anything you can do for him would greatly, greatly be appreciated. Gloria, we are praying about the Hurricane Doria. I do pray that it won't make it to your door. And folks, every dollar, every nickel added to somebody else's makes a difference to keep him in this fight, keeps him talking to the people that he has just told you today that he talks to. And whether he talks to somebody directly or indirectly, that's between him and whoever he works with. But I'll tell you, he has vowed to work to his last breath, however painful it is. He is not going to stop. And the danger that he lives under escalates with the more he gets involved in. And so we do need to pray for his protection. Please, when you pray for President Trump, please pray for Larry. When you pray for Larry, pray for the protection of our president. I guess that's it for now. I'm watching some of the chat here, and again, I the other things, you guys can keep talking for a little bit, but thank you very much. I will, if I have your email address, I'm going to listen to the program again. It was around 28 minutes after the hour when he was suggesting what to say in a letter to William Barr. I will compose that and I will email out a suggested letter to everybody that I have an email address for. So if you have not received occasional emails from us, then you need to make sure I have your email address. So send a text to 240-499-6729. Chris, make sure you have the conference call phone number written down and handy. Keep it in wherever you keep your phone numbers. Because if we go down and Google removes us, and if we lose our chance at using YouTube, we will at least begin with the conference call phone number, because that's not going to go down as quickly. And so we can also let you know about that. So that is our initial preparation for how to stay in touch with you. There is a conference call right now if you want to join us, 712-451-0725. The access code is 492-215-pound, and we're going to be talking there right now. And send me your email address if you want to get a sample letter to send to Bar. Text your email address to 240-499-6729. Thanks, folks. Bye.